The door slammed open. Bruce Lee stepped into Gold's gym and the heat hit him first, thick air laced with sweat and chalk dust. Iron plates crashed against rubber matting somewhere deep in the room. 20 bodybuilders froze mid-rep. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows across veined forearms and straining necks. He walked forward, small, compact, 140 pounds wrapped in black cotton. The room held its breath. "Look at this guy," the voice boomed from the bench press station, cutting through the silence like a blade. Laughter rippled across the weight racks. "Probably weighs less than my warm-up weight." Bruce stopped, turned his head toward the sound. A mountain of a man rose from the bench, 6'4", shoulders broad enough to block the light, arms thick as most men's legs. The name tag on his gym bag read Hank Riverside, Mr. California runner-up. 285 pounds of muscle stood between Bruce and the empty corner he'd been walking toward. Imagine standing in that room, 20 pairs of eyes, one giant grinning down. Hank cracked his knuckles. The sound echoed like gunshots, but what happened next would change everything Hank believed about power. Laughter echoed off concrete walls. Hank's knuckles still gleamed white. Bruce turned, walked toward an empty corner past the squat racks. His footsteps made no sound. The rubber matting absorbed his weight. He dropped. Left arm behind his back, right palm flat against the floor. Chalk dust coated his fingertips, down, perfect vertical alignment. Shoulder blade retracted, core locked, up controlled. Breath released through his nose, down again. The rhythm stayed constant, mechanical, effortless. 15 reps, 20. Boot heels struck the matting behind him, heavy, deliberate. The fluorescent lights above dimmed. A shadow fell across Bruce's hand. 6'4" of mass blotted out the ceiling fixtures. The temperature dropped 3 degrees in the shade. Bruce completed rep 25, rose smoothly to his feet. Hank stood 2 feet away, arms crossed. Veins crawled up his forearms like tree roots. His chest rose and fell, hard breaths, not from exertion, from something else. "Cute party trick," Hank's voice carried across the silent gym. "But real strength is measured in pounds on the bar, not gymnastics." The barbell behind him held 4 45-pound plates per side, 415 pounds, more than Bruce's body weight tripled. 20 bodybuilders waited for Bruce's response. Bruce pushed up from the floor in one fluid motion. Chalk dust clung to his palms. He rose slowly, deliberately. His eyes reached Hank's sternum, then his collarbone, then nothing higher. The bodybuilder's chest filled Bruce's entire field of vision, a wall of muscle that smelled of sweat and iron. "Strength has many measurements," Bruce said. Hank's laughter boomed across the gym, deep, echoing off concrete walls. His spotter stepped closer from the bench press station, grinning wide. 15 others abandoned their sets. Dumbbells rested on rubber matting. Barbells sat motionless on racks, every eye locked on the corner. "I'm 285 pounds of muscle," Hank said. He spread his arms wide, veins roping across forearms thick as baseball bats. "I can bench press you and your whole family." "You're maybe 140 soaking wet." Few men could stand calmly under such scrutiny. Bruce's breathing remained steady, controlled. His hands hung loose at his sides. In a real fight, Hank leaned down, bringing his face level with Bruce's. His breath carried the tang of pre-workout powder. "I just sit on you." The spotter laughed harder, slapped his thigh. 2 others joined in. The sound multiplied, filling the space between iron and flesh. But Bruce's expression didn't change, and something in that stillness made the laughter falter. Bruce's voice emerged steady, untouched by the ridicule. "Would you like to test that theory?" No question mark. A statement offered like an open door. Hank's grin widened, teeth flashing under the fluorescent glare. "Sure, try to move me, I'll stand still." He spread his arms in mock invitation. "Use all your kung fu." He planted his feet wide. The rubber matting compressed beneath his weight, 285 pounds distributed across a stance built for immovability. His arms crossed over his chest. 22-inch biceps swelled against the fabric of his shirt. veins roped across his forearms like cables beneath skin, pulsing with blood and certainty. The gym exhaled. Conversations died mid-sentence. A barbell settled onto its rack with a metallic whisper. 20 pairs of hands released their grips. Iron plates stopped their rotation. Chalk dust hung suspended in the stale air, visible in the harsh light, drifting like snow that refused to fall. Hank stood motionless, a monument of flesh and bone. Bruce remained 3 feet away, smaller, quieter, impossibly calm. The silence thickened, pressing against eardrums, swallowing breath, every eye fixed on the space between them. What happened next would redefine everything they believed about power. Bruce moved one step, then another. His feet whispered across the rubber matting as he circled Hank's planted frame. His eyes traced the bodybuilder's stance, the locked knees, the crossed arms, the width of his base. 20 bodybuilders held their breath. Bruce stopped. "You're certain?" Hank's laugh boomed through the gym. "I'm 285 pounds, you can't budge me." Bruce nodded once. He stepped closer. The fluorescent lights carved shadows across the space between them. Hank's jaw clenched, his core tensed. Every muscle group activated, abs, obliques, quads locked like iron girders. His knees pressed back until the joints strained. Bruce's hands stayed loose at his sides, relaxed, no fists, no fighting stance. His gaze settled on Hank's sternum just above the solar plexus. The rise and fall of that massive chest, one breath, steady, controlled, 2 breaths. The rhythm unchanged. Hank's grin flickered. Bruce stood 18 inches away now, close enough to touch, close enough to strike, but his body remained utterly still, weight balanced on both feet, expression unreadable. The air itself seemed to thicken with expectation, and something darker neither man had named yet. The air thickened, nobody moved. A barbell rested silent on a distant bench. Chalk dust settled through fluorescent light. Hank's grin wavered, then held. Bruce stood 3 feet away, perfectly still, his weight shifted, imperceptible. Left foot slid forward half an inch. The rubber matting absorbed the movement. No sound. Hank's breathing deepened. His chest rose, fell, rose again. Anticipation coiled in his shoulders. Massive traps bunched higher. Bruce's eyes never left the sternum. The moment stretched, infinite, suspended. 20 bodybuilders watched, frozen mid-breath. A drop of sweat traced Hank's temple, slid past his jaw. His fingers twitched against folded biceps. The veins on his forearms pulsed with each heartbeat, faster now. Bruce's hands remained loose, relaxed, open. Hank's weight shifted backward just a fraction. The confidence in his stance fractured. His knees locked tighter, compensating. His jaw clenched, teeth grinding audible in the silence. Bruce tilted his head, 1 degree, studying, calculating. The distance between them hummed, electric, volatile. Every molecule of oxygen seemed to pause. Hank's pupils dilated. His breath caught, held. Bruce's right hand lifted, slow as melting ice. 2 fingers extended, and then everything collapsed into a single, inevitable instant. Bruce's hand moved, not a swing, not a thrust. His index and middle finger extended like a blade cutting air. The strike landed dead center on Hank's sternum, precise as a surgeon's incision. The impact made no sound. Hank's mouth opened wide, silent, gasping. His entire diaphragm convulsed. Every molecule of oxygen exploded from his lungs in one violent, involuntary exhale. The sound ripped through the gym like tearing canvas. He tried to inhale, nothing. His chest seized, locked. The breathing mechanism that powered 285 pounds of muscle shut down. Hank's massive hands dropped from their confident cross. Fingers clutched his stomach. His eyes stretched wide, pupils dilating, whites showing. The expression belonged to a drowning man. Panic flooded his face. Raw, primal, his knees buckled. 285 pounds collapsed forward. Bruce stepped in one fluid motion and caught him. Both hands gripped Hank's shoulders, held him upright. The giant hung suspended in the smaller man's arms, mouth working uselessly, throat straining for air that wouldn't come. 20 bodybuilders watched, nobody moved, nobody breathed. Bruce's voice cut through the silence, calm as deep water. Relax your stomach, let the spasm pass. But what happened in the next 8 seconds would crack open everything Hank believed about power. 8 seconds crawled past, Hank's chest jerked once, then air rushed in, ragged, wet, painful as broken glass. Bruce released him gently, the way a father steadies a stumbling child. The massive bodybuilder stood on his own, trembling. "You're incredibly strong," Bruce said. His voice carried no mockery. "Truly impressive." Hank touched his sternum, still felt the ghost of those 2 fingers. "But you've never trained to protect your breathing mechanism." Bruce's hands remained relaxed at his sides. "I didn't move your 285 pounds. I turned off your ability to hold them up." The words settled like sediment. 20 bodybuilders watched a mountain reconsidering gravity. Hank stared at the small man before him, different now. Not prey, not a curiosity, something else entirely. The chalk dust in the air tasted metallic. Hank's knees still felt loose, unreliable. His biceps meant nothing if his lungs wouldn't work, all those years pressing iron, and a 140-pound man had shut him down with 2 fingers. "Teach me that." The words came out raw, unguarded. Bruce's expression shifted, unreadable. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and in that suspended moment, Hank couldn't tell if he'd just asked for wisdom or opened a door he'd never be able to close. Bruce reached into his pocket. His fingers emerged holding a cream-colored business card. The fluorescent lights caught its edge as he extended it toward Hank. "Come to my Oakland school next week. We'll start with breathing." Hank's hand trembled slightly as he took it. His chest still rose and fell in uneven rhythms. Sweat darkened the collar of his tank top. He nodded once. No words came. Bruce turned toward the door. His footsteps fell soft against the rubber matting. The silence pressed down like physical weight. 20 bodybuilders stood frozen. Barbells rested untouched on benches. Then one man began to clap. The sound cracked through the stillness. Another joined, then 3 more. The applause built slowly, deliberately. Few in that gym could grasp what they'd witnessed, not the technique itself, but the shattering of certainty that raw size equaled dominance. Hank stared at the card, black ink. Simple lettering, his free hand drifted to his solar plexus. The tenderness there pulsed with each heartbeat. He looked up at the closing door. Everything had changed, but what Bruce hadn't told him, what waited in Oakland beyond breathing exercises, would test whether Hank possessed the humility to unlearn everything his mirrors had taught him. 3 years later, stage lights burn white-hot against Hank's oiled skin. The Mr. California crown sits 15 feet away on velvet. He flows through his mandatory poses, 285 pounds. But something moves differently now. His transition from front double biceps to side chest isn't a pause and reset, it's liquid. A martial arts pivot, weight shifts through his center, controlled, breathing never breaks rhythm. The audience leans forward. Hank executes a crane stance between poses, one leg coiled, arms extended with the precision Bruce drilled into him for 36 months. Every muscle fires in sequence, not chaos, architecture. The head judge tilts his clipboard. "Your style is unusual. Where did you learn those transitions?" Hank's chest rises, falls steady as tide. "A teacher in Oakland showed me something." He taps his sternum once. 285 pounds of muscle is impressive. 285 pounds of controlled muscle is unstoppable. The judge nods slowly, makes a note. 20 minutes later, they call Hank's name. Champion. The crowd erupts. He accepts the trophy, but his fingers find that spot on his solar plexus. The memory lives there, sharp, permanent. Bruce Lee's lesson didn't just change his body, it rewired everything beneath.